Perfection is subjective. Is it recording? Hello and welcome back. Today's conversation is about the perfect man. Where does the perfect man lives? Does the perfect man exist? But before we get into the conversation, let's look at this flower. Such a beautiful flower. I love it. So beautiful. Anyways, now let's get into the conversation. So, before we get in, well, not only is the conversation about the perfect man, it is also about women with emotionally unavailable men. Why is it risky to have men too emotionally available? Because a lot of women want men to be emotionally available, and they do not want emotionally unavailable men, and they don't understand why even. So, why are men emotionally unavailable? Well, first, let's look at the biologicals. Biologically speaking, and evolutionary speaking, of course, um, throughout our human evolution, during our early human evolution as well, men have always had to put their feelings aside, their needs, their dreams aside in order to go out and get resources to provide for the family and to protect the women and the children, to protect the family. So they have had to be the ones who had to be the superheroes, the Superman, because they know that there were many people relying on them. So they couldn't be too emotionally available, because if they were drowning in emotional availability, if they were emotionally available, then that would probably distract them from doing what they must do as men. So this is why they're not emotionally available. Women, on the other hand, are supposed to always be somehow emotionally available, but men cannot be suffocated, drowning, and flooded by emotional availability, by being available emotionally, because that kind of gets in the way of them um wanting to provide and protect for the family, for women. Because if you're pushing them, if you're forcing that on them, then it's like, uh why? They already have enough emotional availability built in, and when they need it, the switch will be turned on. So do not force it on them, because it's already there. It's just not um as open, or it's not just always shown, but it is there. And they cannot be too emotionally available for a reason. So, and I know a lot of women, they want the perfect man, they want a man to be their therapist, their lawyer, their doctor, their father, mother, brother, sister, and they want the man to be their gay best friends. But really, you can have your gay best friend, but a man is not here to be your gay best friends. He's here to be um, financially available. He's here to provide for you. He's here to pay all these bills. He's not here for that. He's not here to be your gay best friends. um, just make sure he's financially available. Now, can you have it all? Sure, you probably can, but don't expect him to be everything, basically. Okay, so now that we've covered that, and I think I've covered it without saying too much. So let's move over to the perfect man. Where does the perfect man live? Does the perfect man exist? And of course, by now, most people know like perfection doesn't really exist. It's a matter of perspective, and perfection is different for every individual. So, but the perfect man does exist. The perfect man exists in the mind of every woman. That is where the perfect man lives. He exists in the mental space of women. He does not, the perfect man does not exist in the physical world. He does not exist in the physical world because the perfect man is different for every woman. And even if the perfect man were to exist in the physical world, women would want to make him imperfect because it's like, wait, what's going on? uh, they would want to imperfectionize him. And I know that's not a word, but it is now. They would want to imperfectionize the perfect man to make him imperfect. So women may never get the perfect man because the perfect man really exists in their minds. So your perfect man in the physical world should be whichever man is perfect for you. Okay, which whichever man is able and willing to provide, whichever man is financially available and is available to pay these bills. That's the perfect man for you. Okay. But the perfect man who exists in your mind is that's where he needs to exist. Okay, so now that's all I had to say for now. I hope you've been inspired by this conversation and be inspired. Bye. I will say this without saying too much. Men are givers and women are receivers. Men give and women receive. I hope you've been inspired by this conversation and nest in comfort and be inspired. Bye.